Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is an utter disaster, and the game hasn't even been out for less than a month. Not only are we seeing numbers for this game just completely plummet, but now we've got people that worked on spin-offs to Batman Arkham City calling Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League out. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. This is over at thatparkplace.com, where we see Batman Arkham City artist Gabe Eltiab. Specifically, he is the colorist. He worked with Paul Dini and artist Carlos D'Anda on the companion comics for the Batman Arkham City comics. This is what he had to say about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. He says, I guess I was right, DC and Rocksteady Games. You left-wing activists cannot make great or even mediocre art. Enjoy your failure. You've earned it. You could never match what I did with Carlos D'Anda and Paul Dini in the Arkham universe. Art is about truth. He went on and said this here. Truth and beauty. Commies are nothing but cowards and hacks. Don't hire SJW's activists unless you want to lose money. He then shared a headline from PC Games N noting that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's active player base had fell below 1,000 players. And that was like, this was February 16th. So this was over a week ago he made this. And then he was comparing his art style to the art style in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So clearly calling them out, absolutely calling them out for their garbage product, which indeed it is. And people are absolutely rejecting it. So if we look at these Steam charts, the most recent ones, I posted this yesterday. So this is from yesterday. You can see that the outlet recently reported only 883 individuals were playing the game. And then the 24-hour peak was 1,252. It had an all-time peak of 13,459. In comparison, well, before we get to the comparison, that's absolutely an utter disaster because Rocksteady and DC were expecting this to kind of be a live service game. If you go to the game's FAQ section, it literally says this: Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will have cosmetic items available for optional in-game purchase that can be used to customize playable characters. Each cosmetics only battle pass will also have premium tiers that will be available via an optional in-game purchase. All in-game purchases will be completely optional and will not affect gameplay in any way. So they were going to be selling in-game customizable cosmetic purchases as well as having a battle pass. And in order for that to actually be financially viable, you need people to be playing the game. And clearly, people weren't playing the game. I mean, we're looking at only 883 active users. And then in a 24-hour peak, it was at 1,252. So people had quickly abandoned this game less than a month after it released. And not only were people abandoning it, like this is how bad it was. Like Batman Arkham City, the Game of the Year edition, actually had a higher 24-hour peak, 1765. Obviously, its all-time peak was only 6,822. Obviously, it's because it's the Game of the Year edition. There's lots of different versions of Arkham City. I'm sure it peaked a lot higher if you look at other versions of it. But clearly, the Arkham City Game of the Year edition was doing better than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And this Arkham City Game of the Year edition is probably about a decade old now, I would say. Then you look at Arkham Knight, it had 4,500 people playing in a 24-hour peak as of yesterday, and its all-time peak was 25,623, so almost over half or double what almost double what Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was. And then just to kind of put the cherry on top of just how abysmal Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is, you look at Marvel's Avengers, it had an all-time peak of 28,145 people. We knew in 2020, Square Enix admitted, literally like the quarter the game came out, that they were unable to completely offset the amortization of the game's development costs, meaning they lost money on this game and probably lost a lot of it. The life cycle did extend to September 2023, where they eventually stopped providing any kind of support for the game. I think you can still play, but they aren't providing any more updates or doing anything like that. So they did drag it out for 3 years, and I expect that's probably what we are going to see with the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League as well. They'll probably drag it out, but this game is an utter flop, and it is likely lost Rocksteady lots of money. And I wouldn't be surprised if you might see something like the Saints Row, where, hey, maybe the studio ends up being axed because of this abysmal failure. Would not be surprised if something like that does indeed happen. But just to kind of put in perspective how awful that all-time peak is at like 13,000, this is what we're looking at right now on Steam charts. These are concurrent players live right now. Counter-Strike 2 is nearly 1 million. Dota 2 is a little over 500,000. Helldivers 2, you're looking at 250,000. PUBG Battlegrounds, a little less than 250,000. Power World, which just came out, doing 186,000 right now. Last Epic 175, Apex Legends 175, GTA 5 is still doing a little over 126,000. Rust is at 109,000. Baldur's Gate 3 is doing over 100,000. Call of Duty 88,000. War Thunder, Team Fortress 2, Football Manager 2024, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, all there in the top 25, still doing more than the all-time peak for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Elden Ring, that game has been out for like, 2 years now, still has more people playing it, 50,000 right now, than people do in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That's how abysmal this game was. Players rejected it, gamers rejected it, and rightfully so, because it was indeed utter trash. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.